Very excited to be bringing on to the show Alicé Nascimento, an organizer, advocate, and campaigns director of New York's Community for Change, one of the largest community-based advocacy organizations in the U.S., and Arn Menconi, the founder and former executive director of SOS Outreach, one of the country's largest outdoor experimental youth programs for low-income children, a former Colorado County commissioner, and current writer on foreign policy and climate and social justice. So Arn and Alicé, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
Of course.
Hi, Katie. Thank you.
Of course. So you guys both got arrested for blocking the Federal Reserve. Can you explain to us what you were doing there, why you chose the Federal Reserve to block?
This was really the culmination of an entire week of actions where we targeted the financial institutions, so the banks, the asset managers, and the insurers that are financing fossil fuel projects, even after we already know and have been told that if we continue expanding fossil fuels, we will literally not be able to live on this planet. So, obviously, we go after the fossil fuel companies, but the fossil fuel companies would not be able to exist if they didn't have money. And that's where the banks come in, and they are just as responsible. So we've been at a number of these institutions over the past week, and we've been pressing them for a few years now, everybody from Citibank to BlackRock, private equity company KKR. But at the end of the day, the banks continue to pour billions and billions of dollars into expanding new fossil fuels. But the one institution that actually has the power to regulate the banks and make sure that their portfolios are aligned with a 1.5-degree future is the Federal Reserve. And the whole, the purpose of the Federal Reserve, they say, is to maintain stability in monetary policy. And there is nothing that will create more instability, obviously, not only for the economy and our environment and really the health of the financial system, which is where their authority lies, than the climate crisis. So what we're pushing them for is to really account for climate risk as financial risk and take action to the degree that's needed in the middle of this crisis.
And did you plan to get arrested, Alicé?
Katie, I did not plan to get arrested. There were a number of our comrades like Arn who were blocking doors and who were risking arrest. And all I was doing, I was taking some videos and filming, and then I took a bullhorn, and as a number of our comrades were getting arrested, I contextualized where we were and why we're in the Fed and what our demand was, and what it meant that folks were risking arrest and putting their bodies on the line. And I called out our elected officials, and I don't think the police didn't like that very much. A number of people had bullhorns too, and suddenly they told me I could not use a bullhorn. And if I continue to do so, that I would get arrested. And I continue to do so because, that's why we're there. And after that, 5 cops surrounded me and then put handcuffs on me. So, and I was arrested along with our other colleagues.
Arn, you plan to get arrested, right?
I guess you could say that. I flew out here from Colorado, and I've done this a few times.
And so what made it worth it for you to get arrested?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been, as you said, I was a county commissioner. That was between 2001 and 2009, before the IPCC climate report came out in 2018. And I came to New York back in 2014 for the climate summit on a Sunday where 400,000 people marched. And then the next day there was Flood Wall Street, where hundreds got arrested. And that was my first action that I was in. I didn't get arrested, but I almost did. And since then, I've run for U.S. Senate for the Green Party. I've run for U.S. Congress as a Democrat. I've run for I've run for state Senate. And in Colorado, there's 60,000 fracking wells. Do you believe that? 60,000 fracking wells. I was up at Standing Rock before Election Day in 2016. The problems keep getting worse. The time keeps getting shorter. and I'm seeing less and less action. So I've run for office, I've been arrested, I've been a journalist writing about it. And I just think that you have to come out here, even though I always say I don't have hope, I have kids. And I'm not seeing anybody really fighting for the climate legislation that I would think of. We have a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic governor in Colorado. And I've been urging that we see legislation. I've been running on this. And so I'm sort of as mad as hell and I can't take it anymore, you know? But I knew that if I came out here, I know that a direct action will bring attention. I know that if I'm standing with other people who care, I'll get energized and be with other like-minded people, and together we'll be in solidarity. You know, I argue with people on this all the time. Maybe direct action doesn't work. Maybe this doesn't work. Maybe that doesn't work. But we all have voices, and when we're united together speaking out to end fossil fuel, it makes a difference. And I could shut up, but I would like to talk about how people are feeling disenfranchised, how people are depressed, how people don't want to get involved. So if I could do it, if I could stand with other people who are energized to do it, like the people who came from Portland, the people who came from Seattle, the people who came from South Carolina, it might have been in a certain way. You know, you could contextualize it in different ways. There were 400,000 people marching 9 years ago. There were over 40,000 people marching Sunday. There were more people getting arrested before. And yet the problem, 1,000 fires in Canada, what's happening in Libya with the flooding and 20,000 people. Let's face it, every summer it's going to get hotter. The planet is destabilized. And scientists are telling us all the time, we have new information. Wait, it's worse. And we have to act faster. And what's really, and I'll end with this is Climate Week attached to the United Nations General Assembly. So all the world is possibly watching, and this action yesterday got media attention across the board. And there has been more protests this week, direct actions shutting down, bringing attention to what the financial industry is actually doing in funding all of the oil and gas companies. So I hope it starts to open up people's hearts and minds to get involved and get in action and speak louder.